Tonight on 7 News, miracle escape at a service station. See the moment a truck ploughs into a Bowser. The driver tells of his remarkable survival. Restaurants and pubs get set to reopen just as our coronavirus state of emergency is extended. Saturday night anarchy in the US, the struggle to contain race riots sweeping the nation. High-rise escape bid, how a man fleeing the scene of a Docklands murder risked his own life. And liftoff. NASA astronauts head into space and into history.
Live from Melbourne, 7 News with Mike Amor starts now.
Good evening. 10 seconds was all it took to deliver near disaster to a Ballarat service station. An out-of-control truck ploughing into a Bowser just as the driver had started filling up. 7 News has obtained exclusive pictures of how it happened.
A tow truck slows, preparing to turn, when suddenly a B-double truck clips it from behind, sending it hurtling towards a petrol station. One man just starting to fill up, forced to run for his life. Jeff Clark was behind the wheel and somehow lived to tell the tale.
I'm making a body. That's a lot of tickets, really like that, because I've used it. So I'm close myself, very lucky.
The impact meant Mr. Clark was instantly knocked unconscious, trapped inside his crumpled cabin.
They said there was 300 litres of fuel over the tarmac. All they needed was a spark, and that could have gone up into a fireball.
One witness acted quickly.
Pulled me out of the truck, threw me over his shoulder, and laid me on the ground.
The identity of the man who risked his own life to free Mr. Clark from the wreckage remains a mystery, but the family hopes he may come forward so they can thank him in person.
I'd just like to thank him and shake his hand for saving me.
Honestly, if the pubs were open, I'd go and shout him a whole night at the pub.
The driver of the B-double has been interviewed by police as transport officials continue to investigate what could have been a disaster. Incredibly, the 61-year-old has escaped with a fractured wrist and 3 broken ribs.
He's the best husband, great dad, and I love him to bits.
Christy Mayer, 7 News.
After 10 long weeks, thousands of Melbourne pubs and restaurants are set to reopen. But it comes as the COVID-19 state of emergency is extended and worrying clusters of the virus continue to stalk our suburbs.
A laser that measures distance is now a vital tool for chef Joe Vargetto.
So that's 1.7 metres from that spot to that spot.
The owner of Mr Bianco in Kew has mixed feelings about reopening for dine-in customers.
I'm excited, but what could happen if someone were to walk in with coronavirus and one of our staff contracts it?
From midnight, restaurants, cafes and pubs can seat up to 20 people per room. With pubs shut since late March, Carlton United's keg line at the Abbotsford Brewery stopped for 8 weeks, the longest dry spell in its history. But tonight, beer is back in production, being trucked to venues across the state. One of them is the Glenferrie Hotel, where chefs are preparing for a busy lunch relaunch. The pub's capacity of 500 has been slashed to just 77.
We've got a lot of bookings for dinner tomorrow night and lunch tomorrow and right through the week.
Many restrictions remain. It is table service only, you cannot stand at the bar, and you must eat if you want alcohol. Statistics remind us why. Overnight, 1 more case was added to the Ridges Hotel cluster. Across Victoria, there were 6 new cases, 3 from returned travellers, 1 from community testing, and 2 from a Keilor Downs family cluster that now totals 13.
2 households, 1 extended family grouping, 1 catching it from each other effectively.
Locals in Keilor Downs making use of a pop-up test site as health officials admit they don't know how the family contracted the virus.
We're not aware of any links with Cedar Meats, but we are investigating all potential links.
It's possible that there might be community transmission in that community that hasn't been established to date.
The 1,000 steps today remained off limits, one of 3 natural landmarks closed due to overcrowding. Police were making sure people complied, and they'll be doing the same at restaurants and cafes from tomorrow, ensuring social distancing and reduced patron numbers are obeyed. Businesses who flout the rules can be fined almost $10,000. Not an ideal way to reopen after 10 weeks shut down. So officially the restrictions lift at 11:59 p.m. and one of the first places you'll be able to get a dine-in meal is this restaurant in South Yarra. Cafe Conchina is having a midnight sitting for some very keen customers, but also some of the staff. The owner wants to repay the faith for all the hard work he says they've done, keeping this business afloat during the lockdown. Also due to reopen tomorrow, museums, galleries and zoos. And Mike, the next wave of restrictions easing is due on June 22.
Blake Johnson, thank you. America is tonight struggling to contain race riots spreading through some of its biggest cities. Across the nation, police are in the line of fire, facing the full rage of protesters after the death of a black man at the hands of officers.
Police unleash force in a country gone to hell. A loaded assault rifle snatched by a private guard at gunpoint as officers are dangerously outnumbered, surrounded.
Officers being chased by the group here.
Their cars on fire. Looters take over. As Saturday night anarchy reigns through America. This is Beverly Hills. High-end stores looted, famous shopping centre The Grove cleaned out. And burning. Fairfax near Hollywood, a battleground. LA has survived a history of race riots. It's in one again.
It's one of our darkest days when I saw it last, and it's repeating.
This time it's nationwide. New York, under siege.
Leave them alone! Don't get out of here!
In Minneapolis, it felt different.
And the State Patrol has just arrived, preparing to take on these protesters and throwing flash grenades right now. Cam, they got me in the arm, Cam. We need to get back to the car. Go!
Tonight, police have had enough.
I was not expecting them to come with that much force. Cam, you all right?
A force not willing to lose control for another night.
They've just taken cover behind the car. There is so much tear gas. It's really hard to breathe.
Right across the country,
it's a revolution.
A weekend escalation was the fear. As night fell, America unravelled before our eyes. A block from the White House, buildings burn. The National Guard moving into American streets. Not just the big cities, even Ohio is under attack. A local with a bow and arrow.
You call yourself an American?
Yes, I'm American. All lives matter.
Took aim at protesters before they turned on him. In the home of country music, Nashville City Hall is set alight. Violent and now deadly.
The other fear here, we've heard some gunshots possibly.
A drive-by in Detroit killed a teenager in the crowd. Curfews are now imposed in multiple states.
Hey, get inside! Get inside!
Here's an arrest. Here comes another one.
From Seattle to Chicago and in the heart of Los Angeles, police begin taking control. A new lockdown from a new spreading threat. In virus-hit New York, a lone nurse puts herself in the firing line.
We don't need no more black brothers and sisters dying. That's it!
Pleading, begging for this to end. Ashley Mullaney, 7 News.
And Ashley remains in Minneapolis for us tonight. And Paul Kadak is in LA. Ash, it was a very different response from police today. Has it worked?
Yeah, Mike, well, after days of being outnumbered and overrun, it did feel like police were finally on the front foot and on the offensive today. Tonight, they have rapid response teams set up to deal with any flare-ups, but not everyone's waiting for police. Some people taking matters into their own hands, including this business. These owners here are armed and ready to take on looters. Of course, supporting police right now is the National Guard. Last night, there were some 700 troops here on the ground. Tonight, there are almost 11,000. Mike?
Ash, thank you. We have Paul Kadak live in Los Angeles now. And Paul, a state of emergency is being declared there. Is there any sense that this is getting under control?
Good evening, Mike. Well, it is finally a little bit quieter here in LA. Behind me, firefighters are dealing with one of several blazes that have broken out in the city today, and every now and then you hear police patrols zooming around this city trying to deal with what is mainly looting still going on around this part of Los Angeles. After there is a curfew now in place for the city after protests became a standoff between demonstrators and police, which then descended into violence and vandalism. It is 30 years since the Rodney King riots here in LA, but racial tensions have been simmering in this country for so much longer.
In city after city, calls for justice.
I'm frustrated and I'm angry and I feel powerless.
Yes, we are upset. Yes, we are hurting.
The country's long history of racial injustice boiling over.
This is 400 years. 400 years we have been dealing with systemic racism. It has to be a systemic change.
This is not in the spirit of Martin Luther King Jr. This is chaos.
My administration will stop mob violence, and we'll stop it cold.
Some of the anger directed at the president, stoking tension on Twitter as the mob reached the gates of the White House. Warning protesters have been greeted with the most vicious dogs and most ominous weapons. In Minneapolis, the current epicentre of America's pain and anger, the calls are only growing louder for 3 more officers involved in that deadly arrest to be charged.
I can't breathe!
Derek Chauvin filmed kneeling on George Floyd's neck, ignoring his pleas for air, already charged with murder, now on suicide watch.
The situation in Minneapolis is no longer in any way about the murder of George Floyd. It is about attacking civil society, instilling fear, and disrupting our great cities.
There is no honor in burning down your city. We as a city are so much more than this.
A curfew is now in place here in Los Angeles, as it is in many cities tonight, but it's having no effect here. That store being looted right now. The nearest police are actually only just down at those traffic lights, but they're dealing with other people.
A long night with resources spread thin.
And here now the consequences of authorities being stretched to the limit. Here on Los Angeles' famous Melrose Avenue, this building up in flames. Firefighters doing the best they can. They need a police escort to respond to most fires. And just down the road, other fire crews are busy with another blaze.
Last time they burned Los Angeles down, this time they come out where the white people at and they burn their stuff down.
In America, justice is never achieved at the hands of an angry mob.
The president and leaders in cities across the country say the protests have been hijacked by radical extremists bent on anarchy.
Groups of outside radicals and agitators are exploiting the situation to pursue their own separate and violent agenda.
But the anger is real, and despite the president's pleas,
Healing, not hatred, justice, not chaos.
The thin blue line is tonight holding on by a thread. Paul Kadak, 7 News.
A young man has been stabbed to death during a party at a Docklands apartment building. The suspected killer then risked his own life attempting to climb down the exterior of the high-rise. Chief Crime Reporter Cameron Bowe is near the top of that high-rise building. Cam.
Mike, we're here on the 14th floor of this building. We can show you just how high above street level we are. At one stage, the suspected killer was clinging to the side of this building. He then attempted to break in to this apartment here. He's then gone over this balcony, down to the balcony below. He's got into that apartment, ran through there before his dramatic arrest. The capture of a dead suspected armed killer. A desperate lunge by a police officer brings the runaway to ground. 3 more police rush in to restrain him. The arrest ended a death-defying bid to escape. The 22-year-old had climbed down 3 balconies near the top of a high-rise building and tried to enter Rocky Petrelli's apartment.
Pretty scary because you think that it's a safe building, especially when you're on the 14th floor.
and you've got someone jumping balconies to try and escape the building.
The fatal confrontation left partygoers distraught. Police were needed to comfort potential witnesses. They had arrived at the 15th floor apartment around 9:30. Just over an hour later, a fight erupted between the suspect and the victim, who knew each other. Shouting and screaming from the party could be heard throughout the building.
It was just really noisy. It was like there was elephants stomping the ground in the apartment above. That's what I could hear below.
Another resident gave first aid to the victim, who'd suffered several stab wounds, but 22-year-old Liam Cale from Pascoe Vale couldn't be saved. Forensic police spent several hours inside the high-rise as the homicide squad took charge of the investigation. Cameron Bowe, 7 News.
Donald Trump has extended an invitation for Australia to join the next G7 meeting. Mr Trump made the offer as he announced the 2020 summit will be postponed until September because of the pandemic. The president is also inviting Russia, South Korea and India, saying the current format is outdated. Currently, the G7 includes the US, the UK, France, Japan, Germany, Italy and Canada. We've entered a new chapter in space history, a private company sending humans into orbit. At 5:22 this morning, 2 NASA astronauts lifted off from Cape Canaveral. And as we go to air, they're more than halfway to the International Space Station.
For the first time since the space shuttle, Cape Canaveral's signature sonic boom rang out. Doug Hurley and Bob Benkin hurtling into the sky.
Godspeed, Bob and Doug!
Cameras inside the cockpit as they left Earth behind.
And enjoy those views of our beautiful planet.
Views taken in for the first time from a private vessel.
Appreciate all the hard work and thanks for the great ride to space.
Separation confirmed. The liftoff and rocket separation executed exactly as planned. The booster rocket returning to a bullseye landing on a floating target in the ocean. Millions watched from around the world, hundreds of thousands in Florida.
You can feel the rocket. It shakes the air, it vibrates the ground, and you see it go.
The Commander-in-Chief at the Kennedy Space Center.
When you see a sight like that, it's incredible.
The man behind the mission taking a bow.
This is something that should really get people, right on the heart.
While this launch was almost a decade in the making, the focus here today is not on the past, but on the future, with the commercial space race starting now.
It's the future, pretty much. It's like the start of the future.
That's never happened before, so this is a very historical event.
This first step, a giant leap towards space tourism.
Of course, we need to bring them back safely, and we need to repeat these missions and have this be a regular occurrence. So it's a lot of work to do.
In Cape Canaveral, Florida, Amelia Brace, 7 News.
There's breaking injury news at Essendon. Jackie Felgate is here, Jack.
Hello, Mike. It is one of their stars. For more, let's cross straight to Chief Football reporter Mark Stevens. Stevo, it is bad news for a big-name bomber.
Well, Jackie, I've spoken to the club. Full confirmation Orazio Fantasia has suffered a quad injury. Terrible timing ahead of round 2. So terrible news for Orazio Fantasia. I'll have full details in sport.
OK, thank you very much, Stevo. Also coming up, a major injury blow for the Roos with Majak Dawes' season in doubt. And the Storm stumbles as it restarts its season in embarrassing fashion. I'll see you for all of that and more coming up soon.
See you then. Thanks, Jack. There's been a moving tribute to the 4 police officers killed in the Eastern Freeway tragedy. How their memory has been honoured and their families not forgotten is just ahead. Plus, a speeding train turns historic Ballarat boom gates to kindling. Australia's elective surgery backlog, why it could take years to clear. Farewell autumn. Alina Saris tells us what's in store for the start of winter.
Seven News, brought to you by Business Australia.
If you're in business in Australia, right now you're facing one of your toughest challenges. It's not business as usual, and it's hard to know where to turn. Business Australia can help you manage your responsibilities to your employees, look after their health and well-being, and assist with strategies to maintain and sustain your business. We've been helping Australian businesses through thick and thin for 194 years, and we're here for you now. For free advice and support, visit businessaustralia.com.
Hello, Marissa.
Are you ready for next Monday, 7:30?
The Rankin sisters were myself and my twin sisters. We are the first to bring aerobics to Australia. Known for our morning TV appearances.
You like to get physical, I see.
We're like a household name.
Welcome to 2020. I am Big Brother, and I have chosen you.
Underestimating me is a big mistake.
And you think you can just step your way into being the last one standing?
Life doesn't stop at 60. I aim to win, and I'm ready for it.
I'll be the judge of that. I am Big Brother, and I'll see you next Monday, 7:30.
Join AHM Hospital and Extras Direct and you'll get 6 weeks free. Plus, we'll waive any 2 and 6 month waits on extras. Yay! Whether you're a single, a couple, or a family. It's that simple. That doesn't look very simple. Offer ends June 30. Find out more and join AHM Direct today. AHM, the simple bit.
The Snooze End of Financial Year sale is now on. Save up to 50% off mattresses, including Sealy, Tempur and Madison. And for this week only, get an extra 10% off all mattresses. Hurry, sale on now.
Amazing what a little snooze can do.
A ticket in the MS Dream Home Lottery is more than a chance to win one of two $1.5 million grand prizes. Every ticket sold helps us support thousands of Victorians living with multiple sclerosis. People like Stephen.
I struggled a lot with the fact that I looked normal, yet I felt so unwell. MS Limited support means the world to me and my family.
You too can make a difference. Get your tickets today.
If you're experiencing abuse or domestic violence, contact 1-800-RESPECT for free, confidential advice and counselling, online and by phone 24/7. There's no place for abuse or domestic violence. Help is here. Authorised by the Australian Government, Canberra.
What can you get at Kogan.com? You can order pizza, cook pizza, wear pizza, hug pizza, swim with pizza, sleep with pizza. Okay, too much pizza. Get it quick smart at Kogan.com.
Tasty, affordable and delicious. What's for dinner in the next break with Coles?
Victoria Police have thrown their arms around their extended family, raising money and lifting the spirits of those left shattered by the Eastern Freeway tragedy. They've used a fundraising relay run to remember and honour the 4 officers killed in the horror crash.
A bittersweet end to an emotional month-long journey. Event organiser First Constable Charlotte Peake welcomed into the arms of Joshua Presney's family. The family of Constable Glenn Humphreys and Senior Constable Kevin King, including his 3 sons, also at the finish line. For a month, police have covered 159 kilometres, all in memory of the 4 officers killed.
Some sort of closure, but also feel like they're doing something positive for the families.
Passing on batons carrying their names, they ran past each fallen officer's police station: Brunswick, Nunawading, Burundurra and Collingwood.
It's just been a really fitting way to pay tribute to all of the members.
It's just the second year the run has been staged, but this year is so much more emotional, but for all the wrong reasons. The freeway tragedy has touched the force deeply, and that pain was laid bare here, right where it happened. There, a minute's silence. The goal was $4,000. They raised $374,000.
I think this is a really nice way to honour their memory, and I hope that the conversation continues and that, we continue to not forget Lynette, Kevin, Josh and Glenn.
Cassie Zervos, 7 News.
Heritage boom gates that have survived for 140 years have been destroyed by a speeding train at Ballarat. A V-line service ploughed through the 1880s Lydiard Street gates last night. 1 passenger on the train had to be taken to hospital. Ironically, it happened as Ballarat celebrates its annual Heritage Weekend. Elective surgery patients are in for long delays as the corona crisis clogs waiting lists at many public hospitals. Doctors say the backlog could double in size to 400,000 nationally if urgent action isn't taken now.
Rianne Smith has been waiting for a knee replacement for over a year after dislocating it at a soccer game.
I felt a pain in my knee. I looked at my knee and my kneecap was
pretty much on the sideline.
Her first operation, scheduled for March this year, pushed back because of COVID.
It's really hard in school because last year I missed out all of term 2.
Rianne says her next surgery was set back again because the hospital didn't have enough personal protective equipment.
We're just kind of like just taking every day that comes.
They're not alone. Private Healthcare Australia's modelling estimates 291,000 elective surgeries will be delayed across the nation by August, blowing out wait times by 2 years.
Dealing with people that are going blind and are in pain and have reduced mobility.
Private hospitals may be able to catch up on the backlog by March next year, but only if surgeons work overtime. Public patients could still be waiting until 2022 unless states and territories heavily invest in healthcare.
Unless hospitals get up to speed soon, we're looking at anything between 200 and 400,000 people that will need access to surgery.
Samantha Brett, 7 News.
Melina Saris joins us now for a look at the weather. And Mel, autumn has been one of the wettest on record.
It has, Mike, but we've stayed dry for most of today. If we take a look back at May, though, our temperatures were pretty close to normal for this time of year. Our days were around 16 degrees and our nights around 9 degrees. But if we look back over the past 50 years, we can see that our autumns are warming up. Back in 1970, autumn would get around 36 days of 20 degrees or above. In 2020, that's jumped to 47 days. And over the past 3 months, we've had 276 millimetres of rainfall, which is 113 more than average. That's our wettest autumn since 1989. But in general, we are seeing an overall reduction in the number of rainy autumn days. Back in 1942, we'd see around 31.5 days with rain. In 2020, it's more like 19. So this autumn, we had heavy falls on the days that it did rain. And we do have some rainy days for the first week of winter. I'll have the forecast right after sport. Mike.
Something to look forward to. Thanks, Mel. One of Melbourne's best-known landmarks is slowly reawakening from its lockdown slumber. Next, we take you inside Crown as it prepares to finally reopen. Plus, a breakthrough over the death of a man out walking with his guide dog. Heroes in headsets, the Lifeline volunteers protecting mental health, while call numbers are set to surge. And rising from the ashes, how a bushfire family's incredible find is being given new life.
It's already been a season like no other.
I've been kicking the footy with my kids.
I've been playing in the backyard.
But the time has come.
Now we're back. We can't wait to be on the field.
To witness them in battle, there's nothing on earth like it. When they cross that white line, they become something else.
There it is, there it is! Got to get going, I've got to be bold.
And he's got it. When the footy returns, go to the footy on 7.
Go to the footy on 7.
Go to the footy on 7.
The season returns Thursday, June 11.
Hi guys, Michael Weldon here, back with another Coles What's for Dinner recipe for you to cook at home. Tonight it's all about olive oil braised greens and anchovies with some rigatoni. This beautiful La Española mild and light olive oil is the perfect oil to use for this dish. It can cook up to a really nice high heat so we can fry off all these flavourful ingredients. Now the first thing we need to do is to cook our pasta. So pasta into the water. Now that water was heavily salted, and it's going to come back to a boil and give that little bit of extra flavour to our pasta. The next thing we need to do is get some oil into our pan. A La Española light olive oil. Now this olive oil is great for frying. It's still got a nice olive oil flavour. It's very light and delicate. We're going to add to that some really thinly sliced garlic. Then you can hit it with a medium-high heat. Leave it to lightly fry and let all that garlic flavour come out. Just going to go in with that rosemary and then anchovies. Now, if you're turning your face up, trust me, In this dish, it's not going to taste overly fishy. The anchovies are going to add a nice meatiness and saltiness. We're just going to go in with a quick pinch of our chilli flakes in at this stage as well and let it fry up for about another minute. While it does that, I'm going to prep our greens that are going to this dish. We've got some cavallonero here. It's a green kale or a Tuscan kale. And we just want the leaves and the little parts of the stem. Now, if you have a look into our oil, you can see the anchovies cooked down. It's melted into that oil as it warmed up. So go on with our kale. Just give it a little stir. It looks like a lot of kale, but this is going to wilt down really quickly. And I've also got some baby spinach here. And then with a ladle, we're just going to add 1 spoon of our pasta liquor. Our braised greens are looking awesome. They've cooked down. They're a little bit caramelised. We're just going to take the pasta from our boiling water into our braised greens. Now to that, we're just going to add some grated parmesan. So there you have it. You just want to make sure the pasta is coated with all that beautiful flavoured olive oil. We're going to plate it up into a bowl. We've got to finish it with a little bit of that on top. A little drizzle of olive oil, and then just some fried breadcrumbs with some garlic through them. And that's it. That's my dish that'll turn an anchovy lover out of any of you doubters. It's olive oil, braised greens with anchovy and rigatoni. That's what's for dinner. Happy eating, guys.
One of Melbourne's biggest employers is set to reopen. Georgia Comensoli is at Crown Casino. And Georgia, it won't quite be business as usual.
Well, Mike, 5 of Crown's most popular restaurants will be open in time for the Queen's birthday long weekend, as well as one of its hotels, but it won't be the usual Crown experience. It's a look inside Crown like never before. The food court empty, retailers closed, and not a visitor in sight.
It's had its challenges, to be honest. I mean, we're used to having a number of our guests around. We're used to having our team around. We're used to being part of Melbourne.
As part of a staged reopening, this week Crown Towers and 5 of its restaurants will be back open, but it won't be business as usual. It will be compulsory for guests to sanitise, keep socially distanced and participate in random temperature checks. Restaurants will have single-use menus, tables will be cleaned after each use. If you're staying overnight, rooms will be thoroughly cleaned and room service will be contactless.
Things aren't going to be as fluid or as free as it used to be before. We've got to be responsible.
As for its quarantine hotels, Crown Metropole and Promenade will stop housing travellers at the end of June. One of the last areas to reopen at Crown will be the casino's gaming floor, as it's one of the hardest places to maintain social distancing.
We haven't got an idea or a plan on that yet. We haven't got any information specifically with regards to the gaming floor.
Georgia Comensoli, 7 News.
There's been a breakthrough in the investigation into the tragic death of a grandfather and his guide dog in Wedderburn. 63-year-old Raymond Meadows and his Labrador were on their morning walk when they were hit by a car. A 22-year-old Bridgewater man has been charged with dangerous driving causing death, destroying evidence and threats to kill. He'll appear at Shepparton Magistrates Court tomorrow. Critics of the Morrison government's approach to aged care have warned many thousands more older Australians will want to continue living in their own homes because of the coronavirus pandemic. New figures show more than 100,000 Australians are still on the national waiting list for home care support.
Home care, the government's support to help older Australians continue living at home.
Well, the system is neglectful.
Seniors advocate Ian Henschke remembers his sister-in-law Lorena's wait for home care. A letter finally arrived. You have moved up in the queue. You should get home care in about 3 months.
That letter came a year after she died.
This is care they have been assessed for, approved for, but can't get because the government won't fund the packages.
New data released to the Senate shows state-by-state numbers of older Australians waiting for home care support. The total waiting list has fallen 25,000 in the last year, but is still above 100,000 after a Royal Commission interim report that slammed systemic neglect.
Nearly 20% improvement since
March last year off the back of a $2.7 billion investment.
The government can and should do better.
The demand for home care already strong, some believe the coronavirus pandemic will push it higher still. Australians worrying about the impact of COVID-19 on aged care facilities around the world.
They want to stay in their own home, not go into an aged care home.
Tim Lester, 7 News.
They're the heroes wearing headsets, the thousands of volunteers taking on the nation's mental health struggles during the pandemic. Demand for help from Lifeline is greater than ever, and it's only expected to increase.
Ruben McKellar is on the front line in the fight against a mental pandemic.
Hello, this is Lifeline. May we help you? Okay, it sounds like you're in need of some support.
His father took his own life. His mother has also signed up to volunteer as coronavirus anxiety overwhelms the lines.
For that to be hitting, day by day by day, sometimes hourly.
Ruben's just one of the nation's 10,000 volunteers helping Australians in their darkest moments alone.
How was that for you? It sounded like a really tough call.
Yeah, it was. The caller was highly distressed.
These incredible people who turn up every day to help people, every single day as a volunteer. People like Ruben, he is a hero in a headset.
Calls to Lifeline rose by 25% in March as the COVID lockdown took effect. Crisis supporters are now responding to almost 90,000 calls a month, more than any other time in Lifeline's 57-year history. As restrictions ease, calls still continue to rise, people struggling with how normality has changed. In fact, Lifeline is worried the worst could be yet to come.
What they're worried about is what happens when we get back to normal and they maybe don't have a job, they can't pay their mortgage, and on the list goes.
Serena Andaloro, 7 News.
Precious memories of what was destroyed in the Gippsland bushfires are being put back together hundreds of kilometres from the scene of the firestorm. They're being saved from the ashes by a stranger in Hobart, giving some hope to a family who thought they'd lost everything.
Have we dug here yet?
I don't know, actually.
A family home reduced to rubble. After a fire destroyed their Sarsfield home, Carol Kennedy and her daughter Briannon didn't expect to find anything left, much less two precious family treasures, a porcelain horse and a china doll.
For me, it's those things that mattered, we can build another house.
After 3 days scratching and digging, incredibly the pair unearthed the shattered remnants of both. Then a generous stranger offered to restore them.
I've started the first stage of repairs.
Artist Kitty Croup has kept a video diary.
It's been quite difficult to put together because so many of the pieces are warped.
The Gippsland fires raged for 3 months, claiming 1 life and hundreds of homes. The inferno and the coronavirus have decimated the local economy. But for this family, it's now not about what they've lost, but what they've found.
He looks fantastic. Every time I see her videos, I almost cry. I'm just so grateful. I'm so excited.
Once the borders reopen, the family will fly Kitty and her precious cargo to Melbourne. Jackie Quist, 7 News.
We have an important health warning tonight. There are confronting new numbers about heart attacks in people under 50. Details next. Plus more beaches polluted by a Melbourne-bound ship, with more on the way. The heart of England, Britain's historic pubs facing permanent closure. Where was he? The dog, gone for months, finally comes back home.
Grand final week is here. Their 60s house is about to be restored and reinvented. A transformation so stunning, it will leave them speechless.
Oh my God!
Grand final week begins next on 7.
Let's do it, baby. It's on, mate.
Make this Saturday one to remember. Get best tote on all exotics on every race across all Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane and Adelaide races. PointsBet.
From the director of Bridesmaids comes Stan's new series starring Anna Kendrick.
Have you found the one?
No, I found some losers on Match.com.
The brand new series Love Life, now streaming only on Stan.
Now's a great time to sort your health cover with NIB. Join any combined hospital and extras cover online by June 30 and you'll get a virtual Visa e-gift card valued up to $400. Join NIB today. It's worth it.
How good do they look?
I thought you loved your ute.
Yeah. It's not a Ram.
Yeah, looks great. Sounds even better.
Nice truck, mate.
It's tax time. Stimulate your business now. Check your business's eligibility for the Government Instant Asset Write-Off for purchases made before June 30, 2020. The Ram 1500 pickup truck eats utes for breakfast.
Time's running out to enter the MS Dream Home Lottery. And when you can win a $1.5 million grand prize, tickets are selling fast. Hurry and get yours today.
What can you get at Kogan.com? You can order pizza, cook pizza, wear pizza, hug pizza, swim with pizza, sleep with pizza. Okay, too much pizza. Get it quick smart at Kogan.com.
What makes Nature's Way Adult Vitagummies seriously good? Is it their multivitamin with 14 key vitamins, minerals and nutrients? Or 99% sugar-free calcium with vitamin D for strong bones, teeth and muscle health? Maybe it's their hair, skin and nails Vitagummies to support collagen production. Or maybe the delicious flavour. For your daily health boost, choose Nature's Way Adult Vitagummies. They're seriously good.
Do it, baby. It's on, mate.
Make this week one to remember. Run second, third or even fourth and get money back in bonus up to $50 on selected races every day. PointsBet.
A shipping container that fell from a cargo ship heading for Melbourne has washed up near a popular beach south of Sydney. Today, boats, a helicopter and beach cleaners search for more debris after the ship lost part of its load in heavy seas. 14 of an estimated 40 toppled containers have been recovered. Many of us think heart attacks are likely to kill older Australians, but alarming new research has found hundreds of Victorians under the age of 50 are falling victim to cardiac deaths. Most were fit and healthy, leaving families heartbroken and seeking answers.
4 years on and Penny Denistein's family is still searching for answers.
This tragedy came out of the blue to us.
Father of 3 Ross was in the prime of his life when he suddenly died from a heart attack.
Losing him so tragically at 47 with no warning and no symptoms just had the most, as you can imagine, massive impact on my family and everyone that knew him.
660 Victorians under the age of 50 have suffered cardiac deaths over the past 12 months.
There are very few conditions that affect young Victorians with a 90% death rate.
In many cases, those under 50 show no signs of any pre-existing heart disease, and when a person dies suddenly, it leaves researchers with very few answers.
The problem is, the first time people know they're at risk is when they're dead, in all too many cases.
The End UCD Foundation, established by Mr Denistein's family, is leading the research into unexplained cardiac deaths in young people. They're calling for more funding to help continue their vital study.
We need to have strategies of identifying those people before the first problem is a major, major problem.
If we can help anyone else and prevent this from happening, then that's just, that to me knows that Ross didn't die in vain.
Joshua Bridge, 7 News.
They've been described as the heart of England, loved by locals and tourists. But almost 19,000 British pubs may be forced to close permanently. UK pubs still can't open, and while many have tried to adapt during the COVID crisis, it may not be enough to survive.
It's recognised as Britain's oldest pub. Dating back to the 8th century, ye olde Fighting Cocks has survived invasions, wars, the Black Death. But longevity doesn't equal certainty.
It was only a few weeks ago we didn't think we were going to be open 100% until March next year.
COVID-19 hit here after a long, quiet winter.
Sat the staff down and said, we can't pay you, we've got no money, we're effectively bust.
So they took the last few $1,000s out of the bank and bought supplies, providing a grocery delivery service for the vulnerable.
Jamie's off for our first delivery! One thing we've done is proved beyond doubt that people understand what pubs and community means now.
Making their demise that much harder. Before the pandemic, around 14 British pubs were shutting weekly. It's now estimated 40% of the UK's 47,000 establishments could close their doors for good. Pubs were one of the first businesses ordered to close here in March. The earliest they could reopen is the 4th of July. But for many, it won't be financially viable, with social distancing a huge challenge. And a long time until it returns to this.
I can't wait to be back and be open. It's the first time I've sat and spoken to an Australian and not had a beer.
In London, Sarah Greenhalgh, 7 News.
A family has been reunited with a beloved dog 5 months after giving him up for dead. Little Bingo vanished after December's bushfires near Adelaide, but a chance sighting led to his emotional return.
Oh, my God! Oh, my God! Oh, my God! Where did you find him?
Bingo had been rescued by a nearby family who'd kept him, not knowing who his real owners were. Now Bingo is back where he belongs and obviously clearly loved.
Yeah.
Injuries continue to cripple footy clubs as the restart edges closer. Jackie Felgate, that headline sport.
Yes, hello again, Mike. The Bombers' injury woes continue as Orazio Fantasia goes down. We'll have full details after the break. Plus, Magic Doors season in doubt as the Roosters suffers another setback. The former Saint ready to rumble against his old side. The Melbourne Storm hammered in its first game back. And it's lights out and they're almost away. Formula One sets a return date.
The front bar is back.
If you are looking for earnest discussion or a level of sensitivity about the coronavirus, this show may not be for you.
Get out of it, you pink maggot!
Have the pubs closed down?
Judging by that performance, NIDA was closed as
The front bar is back. Thursday on 7.
Let's do it, baby. It's on, mate.
Make this Saturday one to remember. Get best tote on all exotics on every race across all Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane and Adelaide races. PointsBet.
We know you've always worked hard for your money. In these uncertain economic times, who do you trust to protect your wealth? Invest with La Trobe Financial, Australia's multi-award winning wealth manager and leading credit specialist. Trusted by Australians for more than 60 years.
This end of financial year, get the Hyundai Tucson with style, impressive performance and intuitive technology. Now with a $1,000 bonus. Hyundai's end of financial year sale. See it to believe it.
These are uncertain times, but the automotive industry has a simple message.
Auto's open and we're open.
Auto's open and we're open.
Auto's open and we're open.
So whatever you need, maintenance, repairs, specialty services, even buying a vehicle, VACC members are open for business. So look for the orange sign. VACC, you're in good hands.
We're ready to get back out there again. As we do, it's up to all of us to stay COVID safe. Anytime you leave your house, wash your hands regularly. Keep physical distance where you can. Have the COVID Safe app on your phone. And importantly, if you're feeling sick, you need to stay at home and get tested. Together, we can reduce the risk of a second wave. Stay COVID-free and do the 3.
Authorised by the Chief Medical Officer, Canberra.
Join AHM Hospital and Extras Direct and you'll get 6 weeks free. Plus, we'll waive any 2 and 6 month waits on extras. Yay! Whether you're a single, a couple, or a family. It's that simple. That doesn't look very simple. Offer ends June 30. Find out more and join AHM Direct today. AHM, the simple bit.
Where else do you go? Who else do you hurt?
Us. They come after us.
The killer final season of Criminal Minds, Tuesday on 7.
The Sports Report brought to you by AHM Health Insurance.
Welcome back. Essendon speedster Orazio Fantasia has suffered a quadricep injury, all but ruling him out of the round 2 clash with Sydney. Chief football reporter Mark Stevens joins us live. Stevo, you have the very latest from the club.
Well, Jackie, Fantasia suffered the injury at training yesterday. It wasn't captured by the camera, so it was kept quiet. The head of footy, Dan Richardson, I've spoken to, has confirmed it's a quad problem. Richardson says relatively minor. He says the club not sure of the impact it will have at this stage. But given Fantasia's history, and he's had quad problems before, you'd say definitely won't play round 2. It's just a matter of how many games Fantasia misses. So a real blow to the Bombers. Big news elsewhere as well, and sad news. Kangaroo Majak Dor hasn't played since 2018. He was close to an emotional return. He suffered a torn pectoral muscle in a gym accident on Friday at Arden Street. Gym accidents usually, and tears are at the high end when it happens there. Sources tonight expect him to require surgery. That would mean 10 to 12 weeks on the sidelines. So a shocking blow for Majak Dor. He was picked in round 1, laid out with a cold, set to finally play round 2 against GWS. But now real questions on whether he can make it back at all. And I've spoken briefly with the Tigers tonight. A lot of talk about cardboard cutouts. It won't be happening at Tigerland. Not for us, they say.
OK, thank you very much, Steve-O. Former Saint turned Bulldog Josh Bruce says he'd love nothing more than to beat his old club. And he'll get his chance for the first time when the two sides square off in round 2.
Judging by his teammates' reaction to news he'll be a father of 2, there's no denying former Saint Josh Bruce is now a Bulldog through and through. And there won't be any mixed emotions when he lines up against St Kilda in round 2.
Not really. I'm just looking forward to beating him, to be honest.
Bruce made lifelong friends at the Saints, but that won't stop the sledging.
I mean, some of my closest mates will probably have a real go, like Luke Dunstan and Jack Steele, those guys, Jade Gresham. Especially without the crowd, I think the umpire mics will be there'll be some pretty funny comments.
The 27-year-old has played for 9 years at the Giants, Saints and now Dogs, but never featured in September.
Play some finals would be nice.
Bruce believes the Dogs can get him there. He and his wife Pip, who are already proud parents to Poppy, did their best to plan the pregnancy around the finals, but that didn't take into account COVID-19.
October 8th, so it was meant to be after the season, but now I might be in the middle of the finals.
What do you do?
Well, won't be missing any finals. I've already had the conversation. Said, babe, I played 120 games of footy, not one final.
And even if baby Bruce turns out to be as talented as his dad, he won't be a father-son selection at the Saints. Bruce played 99 games for St Kilda, but to qualify for father-son, he needed to play one more.
Pretty unlucky there, but is what it is. Hopefully he can notch up 100 here.
Sean Sowerby, 7 News.
Storm coach Craig Bellamy says he's embarrassed with his side's performance against the Raiders. Even skipper Cameron Smith made some uncharacteristic mistakes as Canberra carved up the Storm's defence in a brutal 22-6 loss.
Oh, picked up and dumped!
I was a little bit embarrassed by that performance, to be quite honest. Certainly need a little mentality adjustment, and hopefully we'll get that this week.
Storm gets a chance at redemption against the Rabbitohs on Friday night. Jeff Horn says he won't be bullied into fighting Tim Tszyu in an empty arena. The pair were due to fight in Townsville in April, but now they're at a standoff. Tszyu has issued Horn a Friday deadline, sign on for a date in the next 3 months, or he'll walk.
Yeah, Tim's in a hurry. He's very young in his career and he just wants to, he's used to keep fighting. He's used to 5-6 fights a year. I've been used to fighting 2 or 3 fights a year for a while now, and I'm in no rush at the moment.
Today, Horn launched an anti-bullying program for school kids. And Formula One has the green light to begin a shortened season with a double header in Austria. The races on July 5 and 12 in Spielberg will be held without spectators. The Austrian government says organisers have provided a comprehensive biosecurity plan to prevent the spread of COVID-19. Mark, it'll be really interesting to see how all those injuries play out as we ramp up training for the AFL over the next week.
Yeah, you've got to feel sorry for them. They've waited so long to come back and then get injured.
Yeah, I know. It's terrible.
Timing. Thanks, Jack. Melina is next with the forecast. And Mel, how's the first day of winter looking?
Well, Mark, winter is arriving right on time. It'll be cold, wet and windy. I'll have all those details after the break.
Escaping the lockdown, Victoria's great getaway destinations finally open again. Tomorrow, Jane Bunn live from our holiday hotspots. 7 News at 6.
Grand grand final week is here. Their 60s house is about to be restored and reinvented.
Can you imagine what it's going to look like inside? Nope. Are you ready? Let's do it.
The 1960s is reimagined. A transformation so stunning it will leave them speechless.
Oh my God!
Grand final week begins next on 7.
Give in to fresh. Give in to Subway.
Let's do it, baby.
It's on, mate.
Make this week one to remember. Run second, third, or even fourth and get money back in bonus up to $50 on selected races every day. PointsBet.
A funny thing happened the other day when we peeked through our doors. Somehow, our backyard had grown more radiant than before. Rubbed my eyes, couldn't believe what I saw. Your ancient beauty felt new to me. Australia, my home. This place that means more. From indoors, I saw the great outdoors having a rest, the roos prepping for the return of their guests. As we wonder and wander, hungry to explore. Under twinkling stars, with no shoes, we raise a glass to what you are. Australia. Never knew I could be homesick for a place I never left. As you spring to life again, we're reunited with each and every step.
Hello, doctor.
How can I help?
Oh, my skin gets dry.
Try a bit of QV. It's perfect for your skin now.
Originally developed for the Queen Victoria Hospital, QV is dermatologically tested and scientifically formulated with body washes designed to help hydrate your skin while you cleanse. No wonder it's been trusted for generations to care for even the most sensitive skin. Find family-friendly QV at Chemist Warehouse for a great price.
Tough times don't excuse tougher times at home. Even in crisis, there's no place for abuse or domestic violence. If you or someone you know is affected, help is available online and by phone 24/7. For free, confidential advice, support and counselling for women and men, contact 1-800-RESPECT. There's no place for abuse or domestic violence. Help is here. Authorised by the Australian Government, Canberra.
Can care be better at home?
Someone from Medibank mentioned that there's a chance I can do rehab at home.
I said, how much extra is that going to cost?
And they said, no, you've got it in your hospital cover. It just was fantastic for me.
It's back, the ultimate cheesy garlic bread sub. Make your favourite sub inside hot, cheesy garlic bread. Give in to the ultimate cheesy garlic bread sub. Give in to fresh, give in to Subway.
Hello again. It has been a lovely end to autumn, but winter is arriving right on time. There were a few light showers over the suburbs before dawn, but most of those totals were below 1 millimetre. The city started on 12 this morning and almost made it to 18 this afternoon. We had sunny breaks throughout the day, but cloud increased during the afternoon. Taking a look outside now in the city, currently sitting on 14 degrees. And if we look at the radar, showers are moving across the suburbs this evening, mostly over the eastern suburbs. Taking a look at the satellite, a cold front is approaching Western Victoria tonight. That'll cross the state tomorrow as an associated low-pressure system moves eastwards across Bass Strait. So we will see widespread showers over the southwest and eastern ranges tomorrow. They'll be scattered everywhere else. 15 to 20 millimetres is forecast across this northeast passage here. We could see between 5 to 15 millimetres in metropolitan areas. A severe weather warning has been issued for this large part of the state's south. Damaging winds and squally showers are likely to come with that cold front moving across tomorrow. Damaging southwesterly winds are expected to move in from the west on Monday morning. They will push eastwards during the day and could hit the Melbourne metropolitan area during the afternoon. But around the nation tomorrow, Brisbane mostly sunny and 26, partly cloudy in Sydney, showers easing in Adelaide 14 and Perth is partly cloudy. But In Victoria, we'll have showers widespread over the southwest and about the eastern ranges. They will be scattered everywhere else. We could also see small hail and gusty winds with those showers. There's the chance of thunderstorms as well during the day. Snow is likely on the Alps early tomorrow. It will drop to 1,000 metres in the afternoon. So it will feel bitterly cold out there, especially when those northwesterly winds shift southwesterly. And this is how the first day of winter looks over the suburbs. Showers moving through in the early morning and again in the afternoon. There is a chance of thunderstorms as well. Northerly winds will increase, shifting southwesterly and becoming gusty at times. We could also have hail. It'll feel very chilly out there, especially when the wind turns. 13 degrees pretty much across the board, but at Mount Dandenong, that won't get any warmer than 6 degrees. Showers in the city tomorrow. We could have up to 10 millimetres and it will turn windy throughout the day, dropping to 9 overnight and only climbing slightly to 13 degrees. Showers ease on Tuesday, a top of 15, a shower or two on Wednesday, 14, partly cloudy on Thursday and Friday. But next weekend will be bitterly cold, just 12 degrees on Saturday with showers and a shower or two on Sunday, 13 degrees. But for tomorrow, we will have showers and it is becoming windy for the first day of winter, a top of just 13 degrees, Mike.
And the pubs are opening. There goes my plan for a beer outside my favourite cafe. You're an all-weather drinker. It won't fit.
Well, I am. And it might be nice to curl up by the fire at a pub, wouldn't it? Lovely.
All right, thanks, guys. And that's the latest from our Melbourne newsroom this Sunday night. We'll have updates later. For now, from the 7 News team, good night.